Cecil says we're live, and we are live. Broncos Country. The Kansas City Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl. What does this mean for the Denver Broncos?
And how are you feeling? And I'm not just asking you, Cecil.
Yeah.
I'm asking those of you already checking in on the stream here.
How are you guys feeling?
How are you doing tonight? Because the sense I get on social media is that a lot of you aren't doing particularly well with this course of events. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, the course of events. I had wanted a Commanders and a Bills Super Bowl. Didn't get any of that. Is our music still going? I don't know. We don't have headsets on.
It is. Yes,
we'll turn the music down, right?
Turn it
Slowly
down.
turn it down. We are live in Frisco, Texas, wrapping up our coverage of the Shrine Bowl. But we just watched the Kansas City Chiefs get back to the Super Bowl. We don't necessarily break down the game, although there are moments from that game we will talk about. But we just want to know, Broncos Country, how are you feeling after this one? The Chiefs, another down year for Kansas City, hadn't scored 30 points in a game all season long. Yep. Another down year, and they're back in the Super Bowl. They are rolling.
Their imperial phase, to use the term that was coined by one of the Pet Shop Boys to describe a musical artist at their creative and commercial peak. That's what the Chiefs are. Their imperial phase is lasting longer than anybody else's in the Super Bowl era, going to 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. Not even the Patriots under Bill Belichick pulled that off.
Yeah, craziness.
And they're in the Broncos division. They're the 900-pound gorilla that you've got to take out. And, in the postseason, there it was. It was there for the taking for Buffalo. It's there for the taking. Right. And this is there's another layer to this, obviously. I think it's bigger than the Broncos. The NFL has a perception problem.
No doubt.
When #rigged is trending during the AFC Championship game.
Before halftime.
Yes. When in the fourth quarter, you have both Jim Nantz and Gene Steratore looking at a replay review of that fourth down and saying that they believe the Bills should have retained possession and gotten the first down. The NFL, like it or not, and maybe there, and I don't think there's an ill intent. I believe in Hanlon's razor, which is never a tribute to malice, what can be explained by stupidity.
There's
or incompetence.
Occam's razor, there's Hamlin's razor.
Yes.
Like lots of razors out there.
Yes, there are some sharp razors out there too, and including one that caused I cut myself.
He had
shaving.
A Band-Aid like Nelly on his face this week in Dallas.
You could say it generationally. For some people it's Nelly. For some people it's like Les Nessman. And I've got a little bit of Les Nessman in me. More news and Les Nessman.
All right.
At WKRP.
There we go.
But you've got a credibility problem.
1,000%.
And it doesn't matter, again, if there's no ill intent. If it's just these are honest mistakes, that's fine. But the NFL needs to actually address this instead of putting the head in the sand.
Yes.
Because perception is not necessarily reality, but perception basically outside of Chiefs Kingdom is becoming something that I think the league is going to have to address at some point, because a not insubstantial portion of your customer base is starting to believe that something is not on the up and up.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether everything is copacetic or not. The perception means you're going to have to deal with something here.
Right. You're going to have to deal with it. And I had put it on Twitter. I'm getting an exorbitant amount of personal texts on my phone of friends who are saying, like, what's going on? Is the league rigged? And you and I, that pays the bills, puts a roof over our head. We love the NFL. We love this game. We do not believe that it is rigged, but the perception is out there. And I'm talking diehard NFL fans are texting me. My buddy Gabe texted me just now. Yeah. Rigged. That's all he said. So diehard, lifelong NFL fans now having these questions because of what we're seeing now in the postseason with Kansas City.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's a real shame, and it is a perception problem, and it's one. And I think Lou has it great here.
No fair.
Pete Rozelle for years, who we love and appreciate, and I've always said Pete Rozelle's dream of parity in the league, the NFL being more popular than ever, being that fat hog that's not yet slaughtered, as Mark Cuban predicted once. But like the parity really brought the league to the forefront. I think fantasy football did as well. And now parity seems to be gone. Three teams in the last 3 Super Bowls. Is that correct?
Yeah.
There's been 3 teams.
Because the Eagles
in the
have been
last 3
twice.
Super Bowls.
And then, of course, in between last year, the 49ers went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And, compare that with, for example, like Major League Baseball gets a lot of flack. Like the Dodgers are buying everybody up. I mean, I think even Bud Black mentioned on Saturday a text chain that he's on with other people in baseball. A reaction to the latest Dodgers signing was, really? Like, that's so there's a problem there, but at the same time, in Major League Baseball, as imbalanced and unfair as it may be, the last 4 World Series have seen 7 different teams make the World Series in that span.
Right.
So despite the structural advantages that the Dodgers may have, there's still room for Arizona to make a run out of nowhere. There's still, go back a little further. There's room for the Washington Nationals to win a World Series. There's room for the Tampa Bay Rays to make a World Series. The NFL doesn't have that problem because they have the salary cap. The NFL has a different problem, which is if you've got the quarterback, if you have the best quarterback, you're going to have a huge edge because of the primacy of the position. And unfortunately, the NFL is in a spot where if you don't have that level of quarterback, you basically don't have a chance. This is why you see teams probably reach for quarterbacks in the draft. And then the Chiefs, of course, happen to have the best in the game in Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we're probably going to look back and say, okay, Patrick Mahomes not being a Pro Bowler this year was stupid.
Yeah, just absolutely insane.
He's certainly an advantage, but the thing that you're also fighting is, okay, you get a 4th down, and it looks on replay, and it looks to everybody like the Bills got it. Oh, no, they didn't. And also, I think it was put out there on social media tonight how many hold/illegal blocks there were on the Chiefs punt return.
Right.
If you're a Broncos fan from 20-some years ago, you know how that feels, because when I saw that, I thought, and I said to you, Dante Hall.
Human Joystick. Always a weird nickname, but whatever. It was his nickname, and that's what we saw with Dante Hall. Victory Lap saying NFL and NBA refs have been trashed for so long. Yeah, sports are kind of hurting right now. NBA ratings down like 40%. NFL now with this perception problem. Again, I think the league takes care of this with we didn't even talk about the Eagles-Commanders, because I think the tush push is coming to an end after this year.
I think Washington really was trying to make a little bit of a mockery of it, and almost successfully did, making a point there.
Yep.
I told you this when we were having dinner tonight. I wish that Washington had just kept jumping.
Yep.
Forcing Sean Hockley to give the Eagles a touchdown. Just if they keep doing it. At that point, I mean, you're losing not even millimeters for half the distance. Just keep doing it until you force the sportsmanship hand of giving him a touchdown. And I also point out the delay of game thing. And I know there was an explanation for it on the broadcast. The explanation doesn't hold water with me. I've been sitting here saying for years that the NFL needs to treat the play clock like the shot clock in basketball, to where when it hits 0, that sucker lights, you got red lights all over the place. Okay? Because, and this is another thing, it goes to the perception. Yes, it was legal in terms of the way it's written in the rules in the NFL, because they consider the play clock to be something subjective, where it's the official's discretion rather than objective, which I think is completely stupid. You should not intentionally leave something subjective that can be made objective.
Yes.
The way delay of game is handled, the way the play clock is handled, is stupid, farcical, ridiculous. It needs to be when that thing hits 0, red lights go off, and it's a delay of game, and that's it. Because this too creates the perception problem when you have what will probably be the second largest audience watching an NFL game this season, second only to the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, seeing Patrick Mahomes walking to the sideline casually when that play clock hits 0 and it's still 2:01 on the clock. It looks stupid. And this is such an easy fix, but the fuddy-duddies at the NFL refuse to do this, and it ticks me off.
Yeah.
And I've been ticked off about this for years. This is even before the infamous play in the 2018 Broncos-Chiefs game where Mahomes is still waiting for the snap at Mile High, and the play clock reads 0, and ESPN caught it on camera. I bring it up from time to time. You know, I'm getting a little emotional here. I want to see this game do the right thing. I want to see this game be the best it can be. I know you can as well.
Yep.
We've followed this sport for basically as long as we can remember. You know, little Mace clutching his Buccaneers season ticket as a 6th grader walking up to Tampa Stadium. Like, we care about this sport and this game.
Yes.
It's for what it, I'm not a religious person, but I consider this sacred. I consider baseball sacred. These are things that are sacred to me. Kind of like Sam Kinnison's history professor character in Back to School considered history sacred.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And it's just stupid. Why do you insist on having something subjective that can be objective?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think this is therapy for me.
Now you
I know we said Broncos Country. It's therapy. This is,
Now
I wanted something different.
Now do you know why I do a post-game show?
Yes, I wanted something. We got Eagles Chiefs 2 years ago. It's one of the things in media we say is we root for the story.
Yes.
Right?
We want a good story.
Right. So I'm going to be down there all Super Bowl week covering things for DenverSports.com.
Done?
Yeah. I really would have.
Water, by the way, for those wondering.
Yes,
just water.
Sláinte.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. Cheers to you. Cheers to Broncos Country.
Yes.
Cheers to NFL fans.
Yes.
But you're going to be in New Orleans, and you're.
I wanted to do something different than Chiefs Eagles again.
Imagine talking to Buffalo players, right?
Talking to Von Miller.
We're coming up with questions.
We were kicking around story ideas at dinner. If
Yes.
Buffalo had made it, maybe we jinxed it by talking about that.
Maybe.
Like, oh wow, Kareem Jackson's gonna be there. He's gonna say something.
Yes.
Something saucy. Von Miller's gonna be there. He's how he's going to be, how excited he's gonna be. I know Von's obviously got 2 Super Bowl rings, but I still feel bad for him tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this isn't how it ends for him.
Right. Right.
Because now we are his production is in decline. He's still an efficient pass rusher when he gets those opportunities, but certainly you're getting to a point contractually where he might be a cap casualty. I know a lot of people want to see him back in Denver. I just don't see the room on the roster for him when you're paying Jonathan Cooper. You're about to pay Nick Benito. You really like what Jonah Ellis was PFWA all rookie. You could argue that Dondrea Tillman should have been PFWA all rookie. He's got amazingly efficient pass rush numbers. There's not room for Von Miller to be in Denver, unfortunately. I don't think he's taking playing time from any of those guys.
And we're seeing some young late-round pass rushers here at the Shrine Bowl. We're about ready to go tomorrow to Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. We're going to see even better pass rushers there. So it's just like it's a young man's game. We all love Von. We appreciate Von. We respect Von. But it's like, no, that's something I don't think the Broncos do. Could be totally wrong, but we'll see there. But after a game like this, Mace, you just got to get it off your chest. And I think the NFL on that perception problem, it bothers me.
Right there. Well, look at this comment from Kenny right here. Want to go off about both these games and compare it to WWE.
Ooh.
I can compare it to WWE. Now, that's dangerous right there. If you have people comparing the NFL to frickin' pro wrestling, caught myself. I didn't say. Yes.
You almost did. We do not have a dump button, by the way.
Mace.
Yes.
To
this is what I deal with.
Dadgum pro wrestling.
I deal with this every week on the postgame show. See what it's like? See what it's like in this moment? Like, you have to get it off your chest.
This is why I don't do post-game shows.
But this is why when you ask me, like, should we go live? I said yes. Because I think people need this, right? They need to get it off their chest. Say what you need to say. Say it in our comments below. And let us know. I've got a poll up right now on my Twitter, X. Honest question. Do you feel like the NFL is rigged?
Oh.
I have 1,086 votes.
Already?
Right?
Oh, okay.
1,000 votes, basically, 1,100. 49.1% say yes, 22% say no, and 28.5% say, I just hate the Chiefs. So do you feel like the NFL is rigged? Let us know down below in the comments while you're there. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. I mean, this is what we do, man. I don't want the NFL to have this perception problem because you and I, here's the thing. Here's the reason why, Mace. It's not only our love for the game. Little Mace with his Tampa Bay season ticket.
Walking there with my dad, and I'll admit, with my dad passing a few months ago.
Right, yep.
That kind of gets me emotional. Dad and I walking from our spot in the tailgating lot to the stadium. Yes.
Cherish.
And the Bucks were a bad team then. But, when I would walk up to the stadium, I was always convinced they were going to win that day. Didn't matter who they were playing. They could
Little positive Mace.
They could be playing the Chicago Bears, who, they were right there with Mike Singletary and Richard Dent and even Walter Payton back in the day. The Minnesota Vikings were a great team back then. Chris Dolman, Anthony Carter, Keith Millard, eventual Broncos assistant coach. But then there was that moment in December of 1988, December 4th, 1988. They're playing Buffalo. Buffalo had the best record in the AFC. And the Bucks rose up and won 10-5, the only 10-5 score in the history of the NFL. And it's a day like that makes you think, okay, yeah, this is why I believe every dadgum day I walk to this, every dadgum Sunday I walk to the stadium watching this bad team, but I believe something can happen, something good can happen. And it did. And it sort of, makes you, it renews you. Like, you want to believe everything is on the up and anything can happen. And again, this is why the perception thing is real, because I think you and I were watching this game and we're like, okay,
if they do this and there's this much time left, and Buffalo can do this, but they have to do this, but don't give them the ball back, don't score too soon. Like, all of these possibilities of hope. Here's the other reason. I'm going to go layers on you. Here's the other reason, brother. This is very, very personal, very deep. You and I see the work that these guys put in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say we're friends with these guys. You don't really know these players, but we have players that we are friendly with and that we really, really like as human beings, like some really good people in this game, really good people in the coaching staff, really good people in front office. We see all their work 365 days a year. And to have this game have that sort of perception problem, again, you and I do not believe this game is rigged.
No.
But you have the perception problem, knowing that the work that people we really care about are putting in all the time, to have people say that it's fake or it's rigged or it's wrestling, that's where it gets personal. That's where I get pissed off about it.
It's the biggest danger to the league.
Yes.
If there is the genesis of belief that it's not on the up and up, that it is somehow rigged, it's the biggest threat to the credibility of the league.
The integrity of the game. Why did what is it? You're the baseball historian. Chicago Black Sox, right?
1919, yep.
The integrity of the game is the most important thing to monitor.
Yeah. Why is the late Pete Rose still not in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Right.
Because he bet on his own team.
Right. Integrity.
And people are like, oh, well, he was betting on his own team, but that he was manager. That affects how you manage. Do you treat a game in July like a postseason game in terms of how you manage your bullpen? It changes everything, and that's why even I know there are people like, oh, well, he bet on his own team. That's still bad. Okay, that still threatens the integrity of the product of the game itself. So it makes me sad that people feel this way, but I sit there and I can say I get why people are frustrated. But again, I think like I just said on social media, I think this therapy session is as much for me as everybody else. It disappoints me. That's actually to go back to my father.
Yes.
The worst thing that my dad could say to me would be, "I'm disappointed."
Not I'm mad at you.
And he didn't say. He said it it was the worst thing because he said it in such an even tone of voice, not yelling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very disappointed. And it's like, oh gosh, you feel about 2 inches tall. Well, at this moment, it seems like a lot of people are very disappointed in the NFL because that perception is out there. I think that honestly, I think it was that fourth down that really kind of got to me, and it was the feeling like, okay, they're going to review this, and the Chiefs are going to get the ball. Chiefs are going to get the ball,
and we all knew it.
And it's not just me kind of being emotional. It's Jim Nance is as close to kind of a authoritative voice as there is on both golf and the NFL, and for a long time on men's college basketball when he called the NCAA tournament. When you hear Jim Nantz saying he thought they got the call wrong, when you have Gene Steratore, who I think, respectfully to all the other rules experts on, on the various channels, I think Gene Steratore is the best in that role, and he's the best. And he does it for college basketball as well. He's a double threat. Gene's saying you got the call wrong. Jim Nantz is saying you got the call wrong. And they're not saying that unadvisedly.
Yes. They're not saying that, off of tremendous emotion or what have you. They're saying it.
Kevin Harlan a guy that we all respect. Somebody.
We heard it at the restaurant before we came back to the hotel.
On the radio, Kevin Harlan, who, by the way, for a few years, the former radio voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, said he thought they got the call wrong.
Yeah.
Someone saying I'm sassy. Sassy Mace.
From Nate. Nate's our guy, man. Nate's our guy.
Nate's cool.
He's a good dude. I like how Kim says here, Denver will be a force next year. Go Bo. That's right. The problem then becomes in the kind of generations, and we'll see if Kansas City wins the Super Bowl or if Saquon Barkley does something superhuman because he is a superhero. And certainly if he wins the Super Bowl for the Eagles, he will be our superhero. Mm-hmm. But there will be a different version of Kansas City, perhaps with another Super Bowl win or loss. Travis Kelce retires. And again, not to say the Chiefs will go down. They have Pat Mahomes. They're always going to be elite with Pat Mahomes. John Elway drug 3 teams to the Super Bowl when they had no business being there and then got waxed by the NFC teams every time they were there because of John Elway. Pat Mahomes has that same sort of superpower himself. So the Chiefs aren't going anywhere, Mace.
Yeah.
We're just going to see a different version of them next year.
A different version that maybe, I know people are going to say, oh, you're just kind of being hopeful or whatever. I think of it like the Patriots with Tom Brady, because they did hit a valley between their 2 imperial phases. The one in the early to mid 2000s, which I think went from I wouldn't even say their first Super Bowl win. That was a little bit flukish because they went 9-7 the following year. 03 to 07 was imperial phase number 1 for the Patriots.
Yes.
It ended partially with losing to the Giants after being unbeaten, and then the following start of the season when Tom Brady tore his ACL. And they went through a period where they didn't win the Super Bowl for a while. They were very good. They were still winning division titles, but there wasn't a viable challenger in the AFC East. I think it'll probably be if Travis Kelce chooses to walk away. I think that the Chiefs with Mahomes would hit a similar period where they're not maybe the top team in the AFC where you're expecting to go to the Super Bowl. They're still very good. The difference is, I believe, if the Chiefs do hit this period before they kind of rebuild things around Patrick Mahomes, who I think you have to say will probably be a terrific quarterback deep into his 30s. I think you have to accept Patrick Mahomes is going to be at a high level for another decade.
Yes.
In all likelihood. That's probably what's going to happen. The difference between those Patriots of Brady Belichick between their imperial phases and the Chiefs, if they go into a lull, again, I think caused by, someone like Travis Kelce retiring, Chris Jones getting older, etc., is that the AFC West will have viable challengers. The Broncos, the Chargers. And you can't rule out the Raiders. The Raiders have to figure out quarterback, but Pete Carroll is going to give them a shot when he gets them going.
For sure. Yep. We talked about it on the show.
Pete Carroll, John Spytek. John Spytek, of course, a former Broncos
personnel. The next Adam Peters. Raiders just got real better. I can't
believe this. I'm saying this, but
they don't have a quarterback, but they just got a lot better.
The Raiders got this right.
Whoa.
Yes, they. I actually believe they got this right.
That doesn't happen very often.
No. They got the coach right. They got the GM right. Now, Mark Davis needs to stay the bleep out of the way and let them
Tom Brady might have him do that.
Yes. But the point being is when the Chiefs dip, and they will, I know it's kind of hard to believe this. This is now we're
It's
going to
tough.
we're going to the positive part
We're
of the therapy.
What's
here.
the 7 steps, right? We're going through the steps.
We're going through all the steps here.
Right,
I think we went through anger. Maybe we're going through. Is this bargaining now? Yeah.
Yes.
What is it? The Kubler-Ross model. Was it denial? I think we skipped denial.
I think we did as well. Bargaining, denial, reconstruction, anger, acceptance, upward turn, depression, guilt, shock and denial. Search 15 more. What?
I don't think.
I thought there were 7.
No, that's not it. That you're going off the AI. Stop. The AI gets a lot of stuff.
To our
wrong.
AI overlords, we still love you.
Yes.
Please don't destroy us. Acceptance and hope.
Well, it's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross came up with it. Okay. All right, hang on here. I'm gonna
hold, please. We're looking this up. It's a live show, everybody. This is what we do.
Or did she say 5 stages? Okay.
I thought it was 7. I thought it was 7. 5, 7.
5.
Whatever.
Okay.
5.
Denial, anger, bargaining, depression.
We just skipped right to anger.
Acceptance.
We went right to anger.
Anger. I think bargaining is the phase. Okay, well, you know what? They can. So we're in
Bo Nix is
we're in bargaining like that.
Pat Mahomes is 29.
You know, Bo Nix is young. Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Okay, they had a really bad day. I mean, look, there's a scenario here in the next couple of years. I think the big if is if Travis Kelce retires. There's a scenario here in the next couple of years where the Broncos and Chargers are playing a game for the AFC West title, and the Chiefs are looking at the wild card. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's hope somewhere on the horizon. The morning sun is shining like a red rubber ball. I think it's going to be all right. Yes, the worst is over now. Although I don't know if the worst is over now because the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and they're the first 3-time Super Bowl champions in the history of the NFL. There have been NFL champions 3 times in a row, like the Packers back in the 60s, but they only won 2 Super Bowls. They only won 2 Super Bowls, so there's never been a 3-time Super Bowl winner in succession. That might be the worst thing if the Chiefs win a fortnight from now in the Superdome.
Does that lead to depression, which is the number 4 step, right?
Well, then there's acceptance.
Acceptance.
Okay, I'm going to give this message to Broncos Country. You know, a lot of you have known me for a long time, okay?
It's Mace on the case,
right.
Baby.
I don't want you to accept this. I don't want you to accept Chiefs hegemony, okay? I want you to always have that belief that when you're going up against a full-strength Kansas City team, you can be better than that. Well, you know, it's hard, but not as hard as it once was because the Broncos did rise up there in Week 8 of the 2023 season and defeat the Chiefs. I don't count that Week 18 game earlier this month.
No,
against the JV.
No. That
it meant something to get the Broncos to the playoffs, and it was important for the Broncos to cross that item off the checklist of rebuilding to get back to the postseason. But I don't count that game.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but okay, they've proven that they can get it done.
No. We got mics on. We got mics on. Yeah. We might go play pool with them as well. We have to do something to get our mind off this blankety-blanket game. We haven't yet cussed in this show.
I came close.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll stay away and we'll keep doing the show. But either way, Broncos fans, how you feeling? Comment down below. We did a special live for you. We're about 30 minutes in, May, so we'll probably wrap it up. Now, full disclosure, we were going to pre-record Monday's show because we're both going to be traveling at that time to Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. So we will have a special edition of Orange and Blue today, probably done right after this show, where we talk about some Senior Bowl prospects, you know, maybe some thoughts on guys like Cam Scadaboo, Harold Fannin, etc. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But how do we wrap up this live show and get to our pre-recorded show and then get to bed because we both got to hit the airport in the morning?
Okay, well, let's just go through some comments here.
Okay.
Mobius kind of takes a big picture perspective. The Broncos handed the Chiefs a lot of heartbreaking loss tonight. Sometimes the universe has a way of balancing. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. The Broncos are understanding what the Chiefs felt like when John Elway was the quarterback.
Yep. They have that guy, and we hate that guy. Although I don't hate Pat Mahomes. Can't stand Chiefs, but I don't hate Pat Mahomes. And
by the way, nothing against Mahomes.
What we've seen from Mahomes, we saw from Elway. Like, he's the the closest we've seen to Elway that there is. It's like Kobe and Michael. Like Kobe was the closest we ever saw to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So, that's what you get.
Josh Allen is starting to maybe go down in history like Karl Malone
or perhaps like early John Elway. But John Elway got to the Super Bowl, though. That's the thing.
He got there in year 4.
That's the thing. He got his teams to the Super Bowl. Allen has fallen short. I will wrap up my commentary basically like this. I'm done talking about the Lions. I'm done talking about the Bills as these lovable losers, and we hope that maybe this is their year for Detroit, or this is Buffalo's year. They can't get it done. Sean McDermott can't get it done. I don't know what Detroit does. They have everything. Yeah. Stay healthy, I guess, for Detroit. But either way, I'm sick and tired of talking about Detroit and Buffalo as teams this is their year. It's not their year.
Here's a valid question from KW. Do the Bills need to fire their coach like the Broncos fired John Fox?
Sometimes Dennis Miller used to say this: you may never be more blank than you already are right now. And in terms of Foxy, who we both love, we love John Fox.
Yeah.
There was only so far you could go with John Fox. You had to make a move. You had to make a change. I do believe, and I have a much higher opinion of John Fox than I do Sean McDermott, and we'll leave it alone as to why. But I believe the Buffalo Bills need to replace their head coach and hire Joe Brady as their head coach.
It's a fair sentiment.
You've already gone as far as Sean McDermott's going to take you. You are not going to go any farther.
It's the sort of move you see more often in the NBA or the NHL,
they'll replace
or
you
even
like
the Premier League than you do the NFL.
You're going to know that more than me.
Yeah. Like that really good is not necessarily good enough.
Right.
And that actually you can accomplish great things, and then when you go on a slump, I mean, there were Manchester City fans who were wringing their hands over Pep Guardiola when they went on a spot of bother for about 2 months earlier this season. They're kind of still in it based on what happened against PSG earlier this week.
I agree.
Like you know nothing about what I'm talking about, do you?
It's like you're speaking Mandarin. I just I concur. I like when you go from like sassy Mace to giggly Mace. This is good. Got a couple more comments here on the show.
Chris Colos, who always has intelligent things to say on social, one of my favorite followers out there. The NFL needs better teams. I miss the era of the defenses, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, Brady and Manning. There's also a new era of running the running design QB game built around a new era of rules that limits defenses. KC is the first to exploit the new model. I think there's a lot of validity in that statement that they figured things out.
Yep. Yep.
There was a time, and look, the time actually wasn't all that long ago.
No.
I mean, now the Broncos had Peyton Manning in 2015. End stage Peyton Manning, who was not what he once was. His mind was enough to create some good things, but we all know the no-fly zone carried that team.
For sure.
Okay?
1,000%.
That's the last defensive-centric champion.
Very good. Yep.
The other thing about defensive-centric champions in the Super Bowl era is you generally only get one. The Ravens, with their great defense around the turn of the century, got one. I mean, obviously they won it in 2012, but aside from Ray Lewis, it was basically a different team by then around Joe Flacco. So the Ravens, that great all-time defense, got one. The Bucs, with 4 Hall of Famers around the turn of the century, got one. The Broncos, with the no-fly zone, which already has DeMarcus Ware, will have Von Miller. I think you'll see at least one cornerback get inducted into the Hall of Fame eventually.
Aqib Talib.
Well, there's an interesting case for Chris Harris Jr. as the first great slot corner and also an all-decade player for the 2010s.
Love CHJ.
Yeah.
What's up, Chris?
That's something. I think there'll be like a revisiting of Chris Harris's legacy, and he might be on the Steve Atwater waiting list, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
But even going back to the Bears of the '80s, the Bears of the '80s, the Legion of Boom Seahawks, all these teams got one.
Buccaneers.
I think I mentioned the Bucs.
Okay,
yeah.
Buccaneers. Yep.
Yeah, like all these teams, they got one Super Bowl. If you were going to be a great defense and get multiple Super Bowls, you had to have the quarterback, okay? For example, Doomsday Defense, Cowboys 70s, they got 2 in that era because they had Roger Staubach.
Right.
Steel Curtain got 4 because they had Terry Bradshaw, who was pretty.
And what
damn
you're
good
saying
quarterback.
also that needs to be highlighted, the 85 Bears were great. 86 Bears defense was great. 84 Bears defense was great.
86 Bears defense was statistically better.
Was better. So
but then,
these defenses aren't just one and done. These defenses take time. They build. They're great for a few years, but you get one.
Well, and also the Bears offer an illustrative example because that 86 defense was statistically better, pardon me. They went up against Joe Gibbs and Washington in the divisional round. Now, some of it, Doug Flutie was a young starter. He struggled in that game. But Joe Gibbs, I will make an argument he's the greatest head coach in the history of the league. Okay?
You could make that argument.
Won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks.
Right.
And he didn't have one of those quarterbacks that day. He had Jay Schrader. And what he told
Not great, Bob.
Here's what happened. Their game plan was, we know the Bears are going to blitz. We know they're going to sometimes bring 8. Jay, you are a vertical thrower. Just toss it up. And we've got Art Monk and Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders, and we feel like they can win enough one-on-one matchups to win the game. The Bears defense was never quite the same after that because Joe Gibbs exploited the blitz. And that's the thing. Like, in a sport that has been tilted toward offense since the 1978 rules changes, offenses are usually going to figure it out. And that's part of why great defenses without that level of quarterback only get 1 title. You have to have the quarterback. Do the Broncos have that with Bo Nix? That is it's more than a $64,000 question. It's a $64 million question.
Per year.
Yes.
By the time his rookie contract's up.
And there's so much writing on that. There's the Broncos, returning to greatness, which you hope they do. There's
oh God, you just stumbled onto it.
There's Sean, and this is the thing. We said this when the Broncos drafted Bo Nix. Sean Payton is staking his entire legacy on Bo Nix.
Yes,
he put all of his chips in the middle of the table for what he's going to be. Sean Payton wants to be a Hall of Fame coach. Mm-hmm. The way to get there is to become the first head coach to win Super Bowls with 2 different teams. And he has staked that entirely on Bo Nix. He wouldn't have done that if he did not believe in him and believe in his ability to get the most out of him and build a championship quarterback out of number 10. That alone is what gives me faith that if the Chiefs take that step back, that in the next couple of years, the Broncos are ready to step in and get back to the top of the AFC West, especially with some of the pieces they can hopefully add, which we've already started talking about.
Well, ride with me here, because I'll sound like Yoda on Dagobah. There is another. By the time Bo Nix's rookie contract is up, there should be plans in full development of a new stadium.
Okay.
What does a new stadium bring you? A Super Bowl, right? Could the Broncos be playing a home Super Bowl game because Bo Nix is that dude at that time, or in the 7th or 8th year, then the Broncos are the team in the AFC West, not the Chiefs.
I think the window.
Pat Mahomes turns 30 this year.
I actually think the window, the first good window might be right now, or starting next year.
And win one when you play it in power, win one when you're playing the new one.
I salute the optimism. Of course, you're the one who talks about dynasty with the Walton Penner.
I believe
you were saying that when Russell Wilson was the quarterback.
But it was because of Walmart. It was because of Walton Penner Group. I love.
Well,
Greg
this is
Penner.
Good ownership will help you sustain that.
Fantastic.
Good ownership will give you the best chance.
Yep.
Which my random thought, not so random, is I really hope Darren Muji doesn't find out about the business end of bad ownership with the Jets. I hope they do right by him.
Right. I've got some messages I'll have to share with you about that from Jets people. Or people around the building. How do we say that? So,
Take care of our guy.
Take care of Darren. Darren's a real good dude. Other Broncos news, since we are doing a live show, and this won't be on the Monday show. The Monday show is about Senior Bowl preview. But the Broncos lost their tight end coach.
But I'm just pointing the comment. I agree with the comment. But yeah, Declan Doyle is head to the Chicago Bears. A non-play calling offensive coordinator because, of course, Ben Johnson's going to call the plays in Chicago. It's still a step up. Basically, he's going to handle the Joe Lombardi role with the
and
Bears.
Learn from Ben Johnson.
Yes. It's a great move for Doyle.
Great for him.
28 years old. He's going to be an offensive coordinator, even though it's without play calling responsibilities. It tells you the kind of esteem in which he's thought. The other thing is, Ben Johnson didn't work for Sean Payton, but he worked for Dan Campbell, who, of course, is very much a Sean Payton branch.
Yes.
Aaron Glenn is a former Sean Payton assistant, then followed Dan Campbell to Detroit. Now he's with the New York Jets. It's actually really interesting to see that we're talking right now about direct and indirect branches of the Sean Payton tree that are starting to sprout. And you have to sort of watch out for, some of these teams grabbing coaches and giving them kind of a level up. I mean, I would not be surprised to see at least one Broncos assistant end up on the New York Jets staff, for example, under Aaron Glenn.
For sure.
Just like we're seeing Declan Doyle go to Chicago. By the way, to kind of further the whole Sean Payton connection, the Chicago defensive coordinator is going to be Dennis Allen, who was Sean Payton's longtime defensive coordinator in New Orleans, handpicked successor. Of course, didn't work out. Some of it was on Dennis Allen. I think some of it was on other factors. By the way, the Saints still don't have a head coach right now, so they're kind of in an interesting spot as well.
Yes. Some NFL news may crack when we're down at the Senior Bowl. Well, we'll be there for that news.
Jacob saying, surprise, nobody post Webb. I'm not sure the Broncos are out of the woods just yet.
We're not done with this yet.
Don't say
that too soon. Don't say that too soon. Davis Webb, highly coveted by people I talked to around the lake. Highly coveted.
Would you be at all surprised if the Jets
had
some interest in him?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like this. I may say what you need to say, what you need to say.
What you need to say.
For some reason, maybe it's because you're Jermaine, is your handle. I keep hearing this in the voice of Jermaine Jackson. Why don't you do what you do when you did what you did to me? I was crazy for you.
Okay.
An 80s song that hardly anybody but me remembers. As I have my, not only Coke Zero, it's caffeine-free Coke Zero.
Yeah,
late at night.
We don't need caffeine after that game. Holy cow, we charged up.
I was fired up. Fired up, man.
All right.
Caleb Johnson, favorite back coming out of the draft. Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about Caleb Johnson a little bit here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite a bit.
And I would say Omarion Hampton is my number 2 back right now, early swipe. We will be seeing Cam Scatterbo at the Senior
sold
Bowl.
You on Omarion Hampton then, huh?
Well, Omarion's Javonte 2.0, and Javonte was my number 1 back when he came out of college over Najee Harris. By the way, just public note, you don't want Najee Harris, okay? There's some stuff floating around social networking that is terrible opinions about Najee Harris. He hasn't been the Steelers' best back in 2 years, and I'm being nice by saying that. So you do not want Najee Harris. You want one of these young guys. Caleb Johnson would be more third with me. There's Samson Simpson, the Tennessee kid there as well. Devin Neal, who I really appreciate, although some NFL people that we talk to are saying day 3 for Devin Neal, which I think would be magnifique if you could actually pull that off for a guy who reminds me of Kamara, a 3rd-round pick himself for Sean Payton. So lots of that stuff coming up. But Mace, before we're out of here, and you can throw up some comments if you want, how does it feel to do a post-game show, buddy? Does it feel good? Does it feel good?
It feels
why
good.
Do you think
now I understand.
Okay. I told people no one else can do the post-game show. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be territorial, but I told James, our boss, James Marilla, who actually agreed with on Twitter, by the way. It's shocking. I'd said, James, I can't have anyone do the post-game show. I have to do it because I need the release, right? Don't you feel better now? It's even a Broncos post-game show.
I feel great.
Boom. There you go.
I'm a walking Mardi. Well, I'm sitting down, but I'm a walking Mardi Gras. I'm ecstatic.
Throwing beads,
yes.
right?
I'll have to get some beads when I'm down in New Orleans and shoot, it's going to be 8 short days.
I want to go sometime, and Sigmund, shout out Sigmund Bloom, who lives in New Orleans. He sent me some stuff from Thoth Sunday.
I need to catch up with Sigmund.
When you're down there,
it's been a little while since I've hung out with him face to face.
Meet up with him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But he got me some stuff from Thoth Sunday because of Hermes Trismegistus, all that kind of stuff. I get into Egyptian history with everybody, but New Orleans going to be fun, even if it is Kansas City again.
Well, I'll give you a preview of some of the stuff we'll have because we'll be catching up with some, people around the league talking about where the Broncos stand. One that we've already got scheduled that may interest you, given some of his comments about Broncos quarterbacks in recent years. We'll have Nate Tice hanging out with me for a little conversation on Radio Row Tuesday of that week.
Very good.
I'm very much looking forward to talking with him about his perspective on Bo Nix and even his perspective on Russell Wilson, because, of course, if you heard the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, he talked about rooming with Russell Wilson in college at the University of Wisconsin, which is, if you go listen to that, it's absolutely fascinating.
Fascinating. So Mace is going to be on the case down there in New Orleans at the Super Bowl. We're going to be at the Senior Bowl tomorrow. So we'll be in Mobile, Alabama at least. Senior Bowl starts on Tuesday. We'll be there.
Can't wait to check out some of those tight ends. I mean, I'm excited about Luke Lachey. He really impressed me. Rivaldo Fairweather of Auburn was kind of a revelation to me the last couple of days.
By the way.
Yes, Broncos have talked to him, according to Fairweather himself. But Harold Fanning Jr., man, I cannot wait to see how he handles stepping up to a higher class from all respect to the Mid-American Conference, because we've seen some mock drafts out there that have Harold Fanning and the Broncos in round 2, and certainly it's not just Tyler Warren in this class. As we've talked about this weekend, this is a deep tight end class. It's got quality into day 3, and as sometimes you like to say, the Chuck Woolery thing, 2 and 2, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. Maybe this is what the Broncos ought to do in the draft. A couple of running backs, a running back and a tight end early, a running back and a tight end on day 3.
I would love it. Actually know some NFL people that have Fanning over Warren. I don't agree with that, but I don't work in the NFL. I just got to talk about it. By the way,
Rob Romero says Fanning reminds him of Shannon Sharp.
You're getting those comparisons for sure.
And we all know that Sean Payton, he can make a tight end like that work. Just see Jimmy Graham back in the day for New Orleans.
Yeah, but he can't block. Yeah, well,
then he'll use him in a role that doesn't require a lot of blocking.
By the way, we were at the Senior Bowl where Jimmy Graham was, and I remember the conversation about the 1-year Miami basketball player who played football for 1 year. I believe he had 17 catches the final season, his only season of football. It was kind of like Julius Thomas, who I believe had 40 catches his 1 year at Portland State playing football. Anyway.
Shrine Bowl guy, too.
Yes, Shrine Bowl. Love him. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the Arizona running back, has talked to the Broncos as well. And who was his running back that he watched growing up?
Mark Ingram.
And the Broncos have talked to him.
And Sean Payton did a lot of good things with Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram, Mark Ingram.
Just saying. And Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, we've both called him the best back here at the Shrine Game. Yeah. So, love seeing these young players play, man.
Although he said some, I thought, really kind of poignant things about regretting his red shirt that he had back as a freshman.
Asked him why?
What happened was like it created an eligibility snafu that kept him from playing more than one game for U of A this year. One game when he was a 100-yarder. Had a big season in New Mexico the previous year.
Right.
But if you thought there was going to be rust on him, it didn't look like there was any rust this weekend. He looked terrific.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Excellent vision, excellent contact balance, good pass catcher. He's looking like a day 3 steal.
Okay, we're at 49 minutes. You want to go to an hour or you want to wrap? It's your call, Mace. We got plenty of comments. By the way, of the 4,000 people, 4,800 people watching live, do you know like 3,000 are from your Twitter?
What?
Yeah. If you put your cursor over the little number right there, it'll tell you who everybody's from.
Oh God.
So 3,700 on Mace Denver on Twitter.
People have a lot to say tonight, I think.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So YouTube, comment down below. You guys are commenting in the chat room. Comment down below.
We're
as
getting a
well.
lot of YouTube comments. Too.
Helps out the old algorithm.
Oh boy, oh boy.
So there we go.
Ghost saying we think we should go running back first.
I agree with that.
I'm
if
wavering a
Harold
little bit.
Fannon's the truth this week at the Senior Bowl. It's a huge week for
And
him.
it depends if Ashton Jeanty falls. If Jeanty is there at 20, I think you have to. I don't like the idea of trading up for a running back, but if he's sitting there at 20, I think you probably have to make the call.
I wouldn't mind trading up if it was. If you could get the next Saquon Barkley, just get you the Super Bowl. That's all. I don't know.
Ashton Jeanty, yeah, he's generational. He's special.
Okay.
The only reason why I don't advocate trading up for a running back, it's two reasons. One is positional value. Two, it's the attrition of the position. Like that's I don't want to trade a future one to get Ashton Jeanty, with all respect. But if he's at 20, or if he's like there at 18, and you trade like a lesser pick, I think that's something that you could think about. Sam Sartucci, KC will end up with Gunnar Helm.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Well, they had Jared Wiley last year.
Yes.
They have Noah Gray.
No Gray.
Travis Kelce's probably going to retire after this season.
Wow. Okay, you're saying it, huh?
There's rumblings that we've all heard. If he does, I believe Jared Wiley, if healthy, Noah Gray, who's not the free agent. Either way, you're going to stay at KC if you're a Noah Gray, most likely. So. Yeah, and they might grab a tight end this year because it is such a class. And Jared Wiley injured his knee last year. October?
Yeah.
Something like that, September, October.
Okay. Super Bowl colors conspiracy.
What was this? Is this a comment?
Well, because
yes.
If you've seen the Super Bowl logo, there's a little green in there and there's a lot of red.
Okay. Okay. Space is actually water. Let's talk about that conspiracy theory next on Orange and Blue today.
That's a heck of a conspiracy theory.
We're actually underwater.
Well, because Super Bowl, when it was Eagles Chiefs a couple of years ago, it was like this greenish teal thing.
Tealy greeny.
It was basically like teal turquoise. It was a very Arizona color scheme. It was actually very similar.
Southwestern.
It was very similar to the Arizona Diamondbacks color scheme,
or what you're wearing right now. You're wearing teal. That's teal.
Teal and hot pink.
Pink, purple,
fuchsia.
Fuchsia, something.
I don't know.
I don't know. Why isn't your hood up? You should put your hood up at the end of the show. You have a hood on. You have a hood on your jacket. Don't you ever put your hood up? Like if it's raining, don't you go like?
Well, here's the thing.
Hood up.
This is like cotton. Okay, like this is.
Okay.
If I put it up when it's raining, it's just gonna get wet.
It's gonna get soaked.
Yeah.
Why don't you put your hood up like me, so then we could be like, the Hood Brothers.
The color logo thing is lined up the last 3 seasons.
Okay.
All
right, Sam.
But we haven't seen next year's logo.
Hopefully it's orange.
For Super Bowl LX.
Well, they were at...
I like this year's Super Bowl LIX. Super Bowl Licks.
Okay.
That's the dumb thing I do with Roman numerals. I pronounce them like they're an actual like a word. Victory lap. I got so many hoodies too.
But Mace doesn't put his hood up.
No. Nor does my daughter. My daughter has a hoodie thing as well. And she actually told me it was because I wear them a lot. Okay. And that was the reason why she got into them.
Very good.
Like she's got a huge array of hoodies. I have to admit, I sort of make me feel.
It's a proud papa moment.
Yeah, Let's make Jeanty our Barkley. Okay, yeah. Well, I'd say this: if Genty's your Barkley, don't let him go in free agency the way the Giants did.
Oh boy, it's not great, Bob.
Oh, not great at all.
Would you like an update on my poll before we're out of here?
I'd love it. While I take a comment here from Roger the Negotiator. Not going to watch the Super Bowl probably, but I keep celebrating the event.
I'm hearing that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, people. Okay. Everyone says they're not going to do it,
but
okay. I'm going to need some evidence here that people actually are not going to watch the Super Bowl if they say they're not going to watch.
On a mountain with no cell service.
Yes, and don't like show a television that's got the Puppy Bowl on because you can easily flip the channel. You got to be somewhere where there's no television.
No internet.
Go to a movie. Because I tell you, like, have your cell phones on silent, right?
Yes.
Go to a movie. Go climb a mountain. Go to a library. Although now libraries are closed on Sunday nights, aren't they?
So my poll question was, honest question, do you feel like the NFL is rigged? Yes, no, or I just hate the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Have 1,700 votes.
Okay.
50% say yes. 20% say no. 28.9% say I just hate the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the poll. And it's open for another 23 hours. So,
by the way, my poll is Broncos fans, who or what are you rooting for in Super Bowl 59? Chiefs, Eagles, or the Meteor? Eagles is winning with 50.9% of the vote. The Meteor has 49.6% of the vote. Chiefs have 3.5%. I got to think that 3.5% is people hitting the wrong button or Chiefs fans trolling. There's no way 3.5% of Broncos fans are rooting for the Chiefs, but that's with over 2,000 votes right now.
Still trending on Twitter, #rigged.
Oh, God.
Sears is trending for some reason.
Sears.
Dalton Kincaid, Dr. Phil, FAFO is trending.
Oh, gosh.
And some other stuff that is trending there as well. Buffalo versus KC. Chiefs is trending. The NFL is trending. Andy Reid is trending. Columbia is trending. James Cook is trending. Philly's trending. Spags is trending. Baddies Midwest is trending.
I don't know.
Maybe I shouldn't say that on air. Don't search it. Deep Seek. R Hop. Mac Hollins
had a great game.
Three-peat is trending.
Of course. That's what they're going for.
I swear to God, it is. Look at it. Look at Joseline's Cabaret, Texas.
Okay.
Saquon is trending.
I don't know what some of those things even mean.
My timeline is crazy, so you just never know.
The root for the division sickos do exist, by the way, according to Jacob out there.
Okay.
No.
I saw someone in the chat room say they root for the AFC. Well, This is Kansas City looking at 3 in a row. First time it's ever been done.
Do North Carolina fans root for Duke to win the national title?
No.
Exactly.
See, we got
do Ohio State
audience.
fans root for Michigan?
No.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Tony Romo's also trending for some reason. So.
Because because he was the one, he said wow on that 4th down, but when Jim Nance and Gene Steratore both said it should have been a Bills first down. Maybe that's the reason. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe.
Jermaine, I feel like the Broncos are the only AFC team that's not scared of the Chiefs. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. The road to success for the Denver Broncos is going to go through Kansas City, like it or not.
Yep.
You must take that road if you were to accomplish anything. You must be willing to do it, to go in to the Lion's Den. I'm going to kind of quote Brian Billick here. You got to go in screaming like a banshee with a spear and yelling, "Where's the son of a bitch?" That's something Billick said to his Ravens back in 2000.
He also said, "Yeah, baby," after he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Mace, I'm going to conclude tonight's show by merely saying this. It's what I told you last night. Those who look outside dream. Those who look inside awaken. I have no idea what that has to do with anything, but if it resonates with you, make sure to help us out on YouTube. How do people do that, Mace?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you never miss a vid. He's Andrew Mason. Follow him on Twitter @MaceDenver. I'm @Cecil Lammey saying OBT's a BFD. Need you to hit the button. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty.